Thank you, Madam Chairman. I've been looking at a study entitled Fossil Carbon Dioxide Emissions of All World Countries 2018 Report, and that's a publication of the Office of the European Union. So to the extent these numbers err, it's European Union's credit. And that report looks at a number of different countries, how much of the carbon emissions they're responsible for, and what their internal trend lines have been. And so I look at the European Union collectively from the year 1990 to 2017, and they, according to the European community, have had a drop by 19% in carbon emissions, and the European Union is responsible for 10% of all world carbon emissions. So according to the European Union, they're doing pretty good. Then you look at the United States of America in that same report. The United States of America is responsible for 14% of all the carbon emissions. Over this 17-year period of time, the United States has had 0.4% increase in carbon emissions. That's over the entire 17-year period. Since 2007, over the last decade of this report, the United States carbon emissions had dropped 14%. So it appears that the United States has held its own and more recently is actually cutting its carbon emissions. Then you move to India and China. India is responsible for 7% of the total carbon emissions. Their carbon emission output has increased by 305% over that 17 years. China is responsible for 29% of the total world's carbon emissions, more than double the United States of America and almost triple the European Union. And over that 17-year period, their carbon emissions have gone up 354%. And so my question to each of you, 30, 45 seconds apiece, is what do you propose to stop India and China from emitting so much carbon? Dr. McElwee?
Well, the reason why we have global accords like the Paris Agreement is precisely for this problem. It's a global problem, and everybody contributes to it, and everybody can be part of it. Well,
did those agreements force China and India to cut anything?
Right. The Paris Agreement is primarily
not
voluntary.
Right. That's a question.
Yeah. It's primarily voluntary pledges.
Okay, it's voluntary. So I'm asking, what can we do to force them to cut their carbon emissions in as much as they are the principal problems of the increases in carbon emissions over the last 17 years?
Well, we can also talk about historical emissions over a longer time period, in which case the U.S. would be more responsible. But your point is exactly right, that we have tools potentially to help these countries reduce their carbon intensity. This can rely on exporting some of our technologies that can help them reduce carbon intensity and carbon growth. But that requires us to take a leadership role. And so having us be part of the Paris Accord would allow us to do that.
Okay, I heard encouragement, but I didn't hear anything that would actually cause them or force them to do it. Dr. Murray.
I'm going to pass respectfully on your question, sir. I'm not an energy specialist nor a specialist on China or India or such matters that you asked.
Dr. Stelzer.
I'm not an expert in international diplomacy, but I rarely take the approach of forcing my will on another person. I know that I can engage in constructive conversations, which I believe was the call and the ask of the meeting today. I did go to China this summer in order to understand the Qinghai Tibetan Plateau, the third pole of our planet. And what I experienced by being in China for 10 days straight with Chinese was incredible. They were welcoming.
That's nice, but that's not answering my question. I have limited time.
It is building relationships.
Can you please give a response in the little time we have left?
We should absolutely not force poor countries to stay poor, which is basically what that would require. I mean, moving from wood and dung to burning fossil fuels is environmental and human progress. It would be unethical to to punish poor countries and force them to stick with wood and coal. The reductions in emissions in the rich world are not done because we sacrificed, it's because we moved to natural gas. China and India will follow that same pathway by moving to natural gas, but it would be crazy and
right.
immoral to force poor countries to stay poor.
My time has expired. I'm sorry, Ms. Franson. Maybe if the chairwoman will allow you to answer, you may, but it seems to me that the major problem we have is China and India, and I didn't hear any answer as to how we're going to be able to cause them to control their problem that is emitting so much carbon. Thank you.